What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Today we're going to be flying the PMDG 737 from Dallas Fort Worth KDFW to Denver KDEN. Should be a pretty simple flight. I haven't done anything in the plane. I don't believe we're looking at much weather interference, but we are doing an evening flight. As you can see now, the sun is pretty much set. I haven't done anything, so we're going to jump in the plane and start getting everything started. So the first thing we need to do is check our parking brake, which is right here, and let's get to the overhead panel and let's find that battery switch. Let's get that battery on and get our dome light on so that we can see. All right, battery switch is on, dome light is on, parking brake is set, hydraulic pump needs to come on, the electric hydraulic pumps. Ground power we will go connected to. There we are. We are now connected to the ground power. Landing gear lever is down. We will do the fire warning tests over here. Make sure all those are working. Oh, flick it to the right so we can get our click point right. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right, all that's looking good right there. Position lights, we'll go back over top. We'll get our position lights turned on. They are on. I can actually flick this to dome. I had the dimmer light on. Position lights are on, wing lights can come on. Our engine bleed switches are already on. Our IRSs can be set to nav. Our yaw damper will flick on. Emergency exit lights can be armed. Smoking and seatbelt lights can come on. Flap lever is down. Speed brake lever is down. Galley switch right here, that is on. And window heats can come on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And probe heats will stay off. We can jump down into our FMC here. First thing we need to do is do our payload. So first, our zero fuel weight today is going to be 113. 113. So we'll go ahead and drop that in there. We'll return here and we'll go to fuel. Our block fuel today is 16,710 pounds. 16,710. And we'll drop that in there. That will set that. In the meantime, let's get our panel lighting on because I didn't turn any of that on. So there's another one back here. Let's get these guys on. Come on. Stop zooming in. There we go. Get a little bit of floodlight going. We'll come up here and we'll get the circuit breaker light lit and our panel lights turned up. All right, we'll jump back down here. We're going to jump into the, I guess, route. Well, we'll go FMC and we'll get our position initialized. So we're going to be KDFW. Which I honestly don't think we even need to put that in. But we'll go next page. We'll grab the left GPS. We'll go back and we'll drop that in here. That should initialize our position. We will jump over to route. KDFW to KDEN. We'll put that in there. We're flying Delta DAL215. We'll drop that in there. And what was our alternate? Let me find out what our alternate here was. Let's see. I don't see it. Oh, alternate. There we go. KCOS. All right. KCOS. Oh, that's company route. That's not alternate. All right. So we'll go to our flight plan. We'll go next. Here is our route. Here's what we're looking at. Let's see if it knows where we are today. If not, we'll have to. All right, we're good. So we're flying a departure, and then we're flying 2 waypoints, 1 jetway, and an arrival. So this is a very, very simple flight plan. All we have to do is put in rolls, LBL, and Halen. So first one is rolls, ROLLS. We'll drop that in there. J20, Juliet 20, is it Juliet 20? We'll put that there. 2 LBL. We'll drop that there. And Halen, HALEN. Put that in there. and this one. And we'll go ahead and activate that. Execute. I guess we didn't have to activate that yet, but we'll go to our departure. Our departure is going to be runway 17 right. So there's 17 right. It's going to be the Logan 8, I guess is how you would pronounce it. Logan 8 right here. So Logan 8 to the Rolls transition. So we'll go ahead and jump back to departure arrival. Our arrival is going to be runway 34 right. ILS 34 right. And the Nix 3. Nix 3 and the Halen transition. And then LBL. I don't think LBL is on there. No, we don't need that. All right. That is going to be our flight plan. So we will go to legs. We'll jump back here and we'll set this to plan mode. And we'll just make sure our plan looks good. So we'll step through this real quick. All right, right here is where we would get vectors. We're going to go ahead and move this up here, execute that. There we go, and right into the runway. All right, that looks good. So we have to jump back in there and go to our init ref. All right, our cruise altitude today. What is our cruise altitude? 360. So 360, drop that in there. Our cruise winds. Let's find out what that is. 274037. So 274037. That is our cruise wind. Our zero fuel weight again was, what was that? 113. Zero fuel weight. We're doing 2,000 in reserves, and our cross index will do 3.5. We'll execute that. We'll go to N1 limit. We're gonna do all takeoff configuration 1. We'll go to takeoff. We'll go to second page, and let's find out what our ATIS is here. Let's see, DFW. All right, looks like our wind is 010 at 07. 010 at 007. That is our winds. So we'll jump back to the previous page. We're gonna go 5-degree flaps, which will give us our trim, which last time I set my trim in reverse, so I didn't set it to the proper trim. We'll do that today though. That'll generate our V1s, V2, and V1, VR, and V2. Our trim needs to be set to 5.5. So we'll jump down here. We'll take a look at this. And we have to go this way with it. And there we are. That's about 5.5. All right, we'll jump back down here. I think that's all we need in there. Yep. Everything else looks good in there. Okay, so our cruise is set. And I think everything is done here. We're good to go. We'll go into legs. We'll pull back out of this. We'll set this back to map before I forget, because I do tend to forget that sometimes. Our altimeter here is, what are we looking at? 29902, so it's standard, so we'll just leave that alone. Some more information we have to get off of our arriving charts. So runway 34 right, open charts. We'll go to approach, and we'll look for 34 right. Here we are. And let's first get the airport elevation. So 5434. So let's jump overhead here. We'll get this as close as we can to 5,434. We'll do that. Our cruise altitude is going to be 36,000. So we'll set that. We'll go ahead and come back down here. Our final approach course is going to be 353. Our localizer is going to be 111.1. And our Cat 3, or Cat 2, I guess, is going to be 5454 on the barometer. Or altimeter, I guess. All right, so we will set the course to 353. Which is right there. That was easy. Our radios can go to... Where? There it is. 111.1. There's 111.1. We'll go ahead and switch that over there. Our radios are set. And our landing is going to be 5454. So we need to get that up to 5454. Oh, this is going to take a while. I wish there was a... If I hold shift, it doesn't make it much quicker. So I just have to spin this thing around all the way up until 5454. Wait, unless I'm reading that wrong. Hold on. Cat 1 is 5554. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. 5454. So we got to spin this all the way. I thought I had to do it to 155. But I don't. We have to get it up to 5454. All right, so I'm holding shift and it's not making it go much quicker, which is very unfortunate. I wish there was a button that I could like just hold this and not have to continuously scroll wheel this. Usually I don't land at airports that are this high in elevation, so I don't usually have to do this, but this airport is at quite an elevation, so we have to spin this thing all the way up. Almost there. We got about 1,000 to go. They really should add like a quicker way of doing this, because this is... I mean, I understand if I'm in the plane doing it, I can spin it pretty quick, but this is excruciating. 5, 4, 5, 4. There we are. All right. Whew. That's set. All right. Our initial altitude. Well, we're cleared up to our cruise altitude because we're not flying with ATC. But if we were flying with ATC, we would be flying up to... Which runway are we doing? 17 right. We would be setting it to 10,000. That's our top altitude for that departure. But we're going to put it right up to 360. Now this one I can hold shift and get there pretty quickly. So there we go. There we go. 360. Our departure speed. I forget what that was. Let's go. N1 limit. Next. Take off. 134. Now, I'm not sure if that's where I'm supposed to set that. I saw somebody else doing a video, so I'm going to do what they did. All right, this will also set to 353. Yep, that looks good. And what else we got to do here? So our FMC is programmed. We get our flight directors turned on, 1 and 2. I think I'm getting a little bit of choppiness at this airport. I do have a livery installed, so that may be why. Whoop. Get these buttons up a little higher. There we go. Okay, flight directors both are on. Our auto throttle switch is off. Our Mach indicator is set. Our heading selector is going to be... Let's see here. 17 right. 176. It's going to be our initial heading. There we are. We'll zoom that back out on the other screen there. Heading selector is set. Our altitude selector is set. Our autopilot disengage bar is up. Thrust levers are idle. Stabilizer trim is set. Our auto brakes can go to RTO. Our APU we can start. So we'll go overhead here. We'll go ahead and click this to on and then click start. That's now firing up. Our bleed switch can come on. Our APU generators can go on. Our transponder Down here, we can test. Oh. And then set to standby. So I believe it's doing the test now, as you can see on this.
Test. Pass.
All right, we're good there. So we'll set this to standby for now. And all we're waiting for is to get onto our APU. We're waiting for this light to pop on here. Once we flick on our APU, we can get rid of our wheel chocks and the staircase. So this should pop on any second here. There it is. So we'll go on APU power. There we are. We are now off of our ground power. So before pushback, we need to get our fuel pump switches to on. Let's check our fuel pump. Okay, so we don't need our middle tanks today. So we'll get our outer tanks set to on. Our APU generator switches are on. Our seatbelt signs are on. Flight deck doors and windows are locked. Ground equipment, that's where we get rid of this guy. So we'll go to menu, FS actions, ground services. We'll release the ground power and we will remove the wheel chocks. We'll head back to the legs page. Our anti-collision lights can now come on. There we are. And let's figure out where we're taxiing to. I know I have a master caution right there, so just give me a second to look at that. Our taxi, what do we need? We need a taxi chart. So we're going to runway 17 right. Okay, so we're right here. 17 right is up here. All right, well, it looks like we're going to get on. This is Juliet, Kilo, and Lima. I guess we'll try and take right here, Kilo 9 onto Lima, and then take Lima all the way up. That's what I'm going to try and do. Okay, we'll do that. We'll hop back over here. We'll clear that master caution. So we don't have anything started up yet. We don't have to worry about that yet. Our after start checklist, we don't need to do yet because we haven't gotten there. So let's get this switch to engine. We'll call for our pushback. We'll jump in a wing view if we can. There's a nice wing view. It's a night flight, so not a whole lot to see. As soon as this guy connects up, we'll go ahead and release our brake now. He's about to connect. We will use our right ignition today. And as soon as he connects, we will get that engine going. We'll probably get that engine going now. So we'll switch this to ground. There we are. And we'll watch our N2 come up. There's 18. We'll go ahead and feed it some fuel. We'll keep an eye on our pushback here. Engine is coming up good. There's a nice wing view. We'll go ahead and stop our pushback here. Make sure those brakes actually set. No, they didn't. Okay, now they are. All right, our engine is good. We'll get our second engine going. Switch that to ground. We'll wait for our N2 to hit 18. (16, 17) and give it fuel. We'll let that engine stabilize. In the meantime, we'll set our flaps to 5. Yeah, we'll just wait for that engine to come up before we move on here. All right. I have flight controls, just wanted to make sure. We'll move that back down for now. Engine's still coming up. It's almost stabilized. There goes our switch, turning off up here. All right, after start checklist. Engine generator switches 1 and 2 come on. Go on that generator and on that generator. APU bleed switch can come off. APU can come off as well. Probe heat switches 1 and 2 can come on. 1 and 2. We'll do a master caution recall. We'll get that yaw damper turned back on now that we have our engines going. Looks like we don't have any warnings. Check over here. Everything looks clear. Anti-ice we don't need. Pack switches left and right can be set to auto. Set them to auto. Isolation valve switch set to auto. Taxi clearance obtained. Transponder squawk mode C, which is TARA. All right, taxi checklist. Parking brakes. We need our taxi lights turned on. 1, 2. Our runway turn-off lights can come on. Our flaps are set and our flight controls are checked. It looks like we are ready to taxi. So we'll go ahead and cut the brake out. Cut the brake off here. All right, and we'll give it a little bit of throttle. Let me adjust my pedals here. Give it a little bit of throttle, and we're gonna give it a hard right rudder just to get us turned. I still haven't tinkered around with that PMDG pushback feature. Look at the little train going up there. That's pretty cool. All right, we're gonna try and get on Lima, assuming that I don't find a way to screw that up. I think is straight ahead here, but on my map it is showing that we have to either go to the left here or to the right. So let's go to the left. We'll go up top here in a second and get our dome light turned off because we don't need that. Let me just find my way about these taxiways for a second. I always have the most trouble knowing if I'm taxiing the right way or not. Even with the map, like even with the live like chart on the taxiway, I still never know if I'm taxiing the right way. All right, so we're gonna follow this around, which it looks like we are going the right way, and then we're gonna make a right here, and we're gonna follow that to Lima, jump on Lima, and we should be able to just take that all the way down. There we are. I know it's a little slow. Once I get on the actual taxiway, I'll definitely speed it up a little bit for you. So we want to go to that inside pocket up there. That's what we're looking for. So we're gonna go to the left here. And this is Kilo 9, it looks like. And we're gonna follow this inside here, which I'm a little bit off of these taxiways, but what are you gonna do? This is why ATC is great, because ATC just tells you which way to go. And once I make this left here, that should be Lima. That should take us all the way down to our runway. Usually you have lines that curve to tell you which direction to go. I'm wondering if they just do it different here and you just don't have the actual curved lines in certain areas, or if I'm taxiing in the wrong place. If you know, feel free to leave a comment and let me know. All right, I'm actually going to leave the dome light on until we get to our hold short line, and then at that point I'll toggle it off once we get ready to line up on the runway. But we'll go ahead and speed this up a little bit here if we can, give it a little bit more throttle and try and follow this taxi line all the way down. My ground speed right now is about 15. I'm not sure what the ground speed taxi speeds are, like what you're technically supposed to aim for. I'm gonna go about 20 if I can. Yeah, about right there. We have to follow this all the way down to the end, as you can see here. All the way down there. And then we'll be lined up. I'm not sure what you're going to see out the window or how exciting the time lapse today is going to be because it's nighttime. Maybe it'll be cool, maybe it won't, but I'm going to put a time lapse in shortly after cruise like I normally do, or shortly after departure and a little bit after the climb out. So we'll just continue on down. We're losing a little bit of speed. Let me give it a little bit more power here. Just maintain that speed and get us down there. I do feel a left, like a pull to the left, which I don't normally feel. So that's interesting. All right, we are almost there. We're gonna cross over Zulu and Yankee, and then we will make the next right after that. Looks like we have like a little roundabout right here, but we're gonna just continue straight. Little circle to the left there. All right, and our next right will be our lineup. Or lineup on a runway. I think we can hold short up here. I think the hold short line is like right in front of me here. You'll see it on the ground. Get a little bit to the right here. No, looks like we're gonna make a right and then be on our hold short. Give it a little bit of brake. And we'll kick to the right here. Here's our hold short line. Took that turn a little bit wide there. That's okay. All right, so we'll hold short here. We'll go ahead and put our brake on. Our before takeoff checklist, we have to arm our auto throttle. Our engine switches need to be set to continuous. Transponder TARA, we did that. Landing lights and strobe lights on. Strobe lights are already on. We'll do a recall, which I think we're fine. Good. All right, we are ready to line up on the runway. We'll release our parking brake. We'll go ahead and give it some throttle. All right. There we are. We'll go ahead and hold short for a second. Go to my overhead panel here. Let's get this light turned off. All right, there we are. And we are lined up and we're ready for takeoff. So let's go ahead and get that going. We'll go ahead and hit our toga switch. We'll listen for our call outs. Keep the nose on the ground until then. Cross check.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Nose down just a little bit to get our flaps up. And flaps can come all the way in. We'll go VNAV, LNAV, and autopilot on. Go ahead and release the control here. There we are. We'll get our gear set to off since it is up. We'll jump into a wing view here. There's Dallas. Looks really nice at nighttime. That's why I don't do enough nighttime flights. I need to do some more. Most of mine are daytime. I feel like the nighttime is boring as a viewer. But I guess not. Maybe not. You guys let me know. Alright, our after takeoff checklist. Our landing gear's up. Our flaps are set. Our taxi light switches. We'll go ahead and jump back into the cockpit here for a minute. Our taxi light switches can come off and our runway turnoff lights can come off. Everything else will stay on for now. Our autopilot is turned on and our auto brakes can be set to off. We'll continue climbing out here for a minute. I'll jump back in a wing view. Ah, it looks so good out there. Absolutely love it. What a perfect night to take off and fly out of here. This is a FlightAware route, so I did pull an actual flight from FlightAware, and we were flying a pre-filed flight. What a beautiful departure. I like departures like this. Very easy, out of a city, lots of lights on the ground to see, lots to look at. It's not very cloudy. Got some clouds out there, but not too much. Beautiful. I think we're looking at about an hour and 36 minutes airtime, which obviously is going to be sped up for you guys because we'll go ahead and do that time lapse. About to cross over that 10,000 mark, which we're going to do our climb checks at that point, which is just landing lights off, engine start switches off, and seatbelt signs as required. So we will go landing lights. Oh, yeah, landing lights off. Engine start switches set to off. And seatbelt signs we will leave on for now. And we will start our climb out. Very, very beautiful departure. Everything is looking pretty smooth. I think we're gonna have a really nice flight. I will go ahead and jump into a wing view and toggle on that time lapse for you. We can go ahead and switch this to standard now because we're staying at 2992. So we'll go ahead and jump in the wing view and I will see you guys on the descent. All right, guys, welcome back. I know that time lapse probably wasn't too much to see. It was pretty dark for most of the ride. But we have started our descent. We're climbing through 26,000 right now. I think we're heading down to flight level 19,000. We got a little bit of cloud coverage up here. We can see the lights of Denver just ahead. So we shouldn't be too far out. We're gonna start our descent checklist here in just a minute. Let's take a look. Our altimeter is gonna have to be set to 3008. Since we are climbing down below that, we will go ahead and set our altimeter now to 3008. All right, that is set. And our descent checklist is pretty simple, if I remember correctly. We don't have to fully do our descent yet. Landing lights will come on. Seatbelt signs we left on. Air conditioning and pressures we will check. Engine wing and anti-ice as required. Transition altitude we just did. ATIS is obtained and engine start switches to continuous and FMC set to approach. So we'll do a lot of that in just a minute here once we hit 18,000, but we can do our approach information. So we're going to do 30 degrees, 130 knot approach. We'll go ahead and put that in there. So it's going to be 130 plus 5. So 135 is going to be our VREF for our landing. Everything looks fine there. We'll go ahead and head back to here. It looks like it is managing our speeds as expected. All right, so today I want to try and do the right way, an ILS Cat 3 approach. From my understanding, in order to do so, we have to have our course set on both sides. We'll have to activate both of our autopilots once we are locked onto the localizer, and we will have to have the ILS frequency, which is 111.1, on both sides and in the active channel. So hopefully that works. Now, I did have some issues with that, and I reached out to some people on the PMDG Discord, and they said that there is still some work to be done on the autopilot stuff. One of the issues that I was having was shortly, pretty much right over the piano keys of the runway, I would get a glide slope call out, and I assume that that's telling me that I'm falling off of the glide slope. However, the ILS approach still worked. I did try Cat 3 not recorded, and it took me right down to the runway and everything went fine. I just got that call out, and I reached out to some people to see why I might be getting that, and they said if you're not hand flying it and you're doing it with the ILS, it's likely an issue with the autopilot that they're still working on with PMDG, trying to tweak some things and get that set right. So as far as I'm concerned, I believe that I'm doing everything correct for the approach, for the autopilot approach. Let's turn that down. I think it's pretty bright. Which is to have the course in both sides of the plane, so course 353, course 353, and then have the frequency on both active channels of the navs on both sides, and then you activate both autopilots once you're locked onto the glide slope. So that's where we're at with it now. Looks like we're coming down to our 18,000 now, so we'll do our descent checklist. We are cleared down, so we will we'll hold off on our landing lights. We'll hit that at about 10,000. Seatbelt signs is on. Air conditioning and pressures look good. Engine anti-ice we don't need. Transition altitude is set. ATIS is obtained and engine start switches are now set to continuous. FMC is set to arrival / approach, which we did that, or we set our arrival approach stuff. So all we have to do is toggle on our landing lights, and then once we get a little bit closer, we'll do our approach checks. Now I have our altitude set to 7,000 because at 7,000 is our intercept altitude for the ILS on 34 right. So we'll go approach ILS 34 right. Here we are. Take a look down here. You see right here, 7,000 is where we're gonna join the localizer. Which, because we're at a higher altitude, obviously it's going to be 7,000 is really like 2,500 or something like that. So yeah, everything's looking pretty good. We're going to start that left-hand turn here just to get onto these waypoints. I believe Boeing up here is where we're going to try to intersect our ILS. So we'll go ahead and zoom that back in, and we'll set this back. Let's take a look at this again. Let's take a look at our approach chart and see. Boston, Hager. So somewhere between there and Boeing is where we're going to toggle on. We're at 12,000 here. Is where we'll toggle on our what are the words I'm looking for? Our localizer. So I'm looking for the localizer. Not much to see out the window now. Still pretty dark. Looks like we're about to head through a small cloud layer here. And I think we are all set. All we have to do is our approach checks once we get just a little bit closer. And as of right now, we are about not too far out from the runway. 40 miles maybe. Roughly 40 miles. So we're just going to hit these next two waypoints. We're about 5 miles out from the following one or the next one, and we'll start our right turn. Once we start that right turn, we will be looking to get set on the localizer shortly after that. So we will be able to do our landing checks. I'm going to go ahead and get our landing lights on now. That will complete our descent checklist. Approach checklist is going to be landing lights on, auto brakes set, decision height set, master caution, recall. Everything looks fine there. Missed approach altitude we will have to set, and speed brake arm, flaps, landing gear, and taxi light switches. So we're coming in on the home stretch here. Here we are climbing through some clouds. Can't really see it out the windows. Night flights aren't as exciting as you would expect. They're a little more exciting once you get closer and you start to see the ground. Departures are nice. Like when we took off out of Texas, it looked really good. All the ground texture and the lighting and everything looked absolutely awesome. But aside from that, the flight was pretty dark. You didn't really have much to see, unfortunately. So we have our speeds down. We're going to go ahead and intervene our speeds here in just a minute. And we want to get down to 193. Well, I guess we don't have to intervene. We'll intervene once we go flaps. Or go, yeah, I guess once we start introducing flaps, we'll intervene with our speed and start bringing that down manually. 135 is our target. So now we're starting to get a glimpse of the ground and the textures down there and everything. The airport is off to our right. It's not there. I don't think we quite have it in sight yet. Actually, I think the clouds are kind of blocking us from seeing it. It's kind of leveled off around the clouds here. So remember, 12,000 feet is from sea level. So our ground is only about 5,000 or 6,000 feet below us. So now that our speeds are coming down, once we hit that up speed, we'll go ahead and introduce our flaps. We'll probably, I guess we won't drop gear just yet, but our approach checks we can go ahead and do. Auto brakes we're going to set to 2. We'll set to medium. Decision height set, master caution, recall. We are fine. Speed brake we will arm. There it is. Speed brake is arm. And our flaps we're going to get ready to do here in just a moment. Gotta let our speed come down a little bit more before we can introduce our flaps. Keeping an eye to see if our localizer pops up on the display there. Once it does, we will activate it. Let our speeds continue coming down just a little bit here. We got to be at 193 by the time we hit the Boeing waypoint. So I'm going to go ahead and speed intervene now. We're going to bring it down to 198 if we can. That way we can get our flaps extended. And there we are. So we'll go ahead and give ourselves 1 notch of flaps. We'll continue to bring our speeds down to about 178. So everything is good. We just have to do flaps, landing gear, and taxi light switches. Once we make this right turn and lock onto the localizer, which we have popping up on our display right here, then we will toggle on our taxi lights and everything and get that going. Let our speeds keep coming down slowly. We're getting the runways in sight here. So there's the airport out there. Alright. We'll introduce another notch of flaps. Bring our speeds down just a little bit more. We'll hold it there for a minute. We'll get locked onto the localizer and then we will drop our gear and continue getting our flaps extended. Starting to see some lights out there. Not too much to see out the window. Again, it's dark, so not too exciting. All right, we're going to continue waiting for that localizer to come into the angle we want it. So we'll go ahead and start watching for it. As you can see here, we have a VOR lock, and we're going to wait for that to turn green to let us know that we are on it. I think it'll just say LOC and then have an asterisk, and that'll let us know that we're locked onto it. All right, we're getting close enough. I'm going to go ahead and toggle on our taxi and runway turn off lights now. And I'm even going to... I was going to get my gear down. I think I'm going to wait for that. Let's just get lined up first, and we'll drop our gear. Alright, see the moon up there. That was pretty neat. I wonder if that accurately depicts like the moon that they're seeing there now, if that's all accurate or not. I mean, why wouldn't it be? I'm sure it is. Alright, we're still looking for that localizer. We do have our glide slope diamond on here as well. We're coming up on our next waypoint, about 3 nautical miles, and we'll start our right turn. And we are landing 3-4 right, which I believe is this runway right here. All right, our localizer is coming into center here. And we'll go ahead and toggle on our approach in just a second. There it is. Go ahead and toggle on our approach. Go ahead and drop our gear. We'll start getting our speed down a little bit more. All landing gear is down. We'll give ourselves some more flaps here. And we will go autopilot 2 is on, so we have both autopilots on. I'm hoping we do this correctly. If not, we'll just take the ILS down as low as we can and then toggle off the autopilot and hand fly it. But I think we're doing it right. We'll see what happens.
Radio altimeter.
All right, we'll get our speeds down. I think it was 135, right? I don't remember what our landing speed was. Yeah, 135. 130 plus 5. All right, we are all set for our landing. Everything looks fine so far. We're locked onto our glide slope. We're at about 7,500. Our altimeter is set. Everything looks good. Our approach checks are all done. Let's hope it's a smooth landing. A little bit more to see out the window there. Jump back in. I'm gonna go ahead and put my feet on the rudder pedals here just in case something happens. We are ready. All right, so this just changed the CMD. I'm actually not sure what CMD means, but I saw a bunch of stuff flicker on here and then it changed to CMD. And it flare came up here as well. So I think that we are on course for our Cat 3 approach. I think that was just letting us know that we are locked onto it and everything's going the way it's supposed to. So if we get that glide slope call out, from my understanding, we can just ignore that. That's just a fault with the plane. Unless somebody else sees something that I didn't do correctly, then feel free to let me know in the comments. But I talked to the PMDG guys about it, and they just said that it's an autopilot thing that they're working on. Making sure our speed's right around where we need it to be. It looks like we're coming in a little bit low. I'm ready to grab the controls if we need to.
Approaching minimums.
All right. Everything's fine so far. Continuing.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Come on, touch her down. There we go. Low. We'll get some left rudder there. Man, that pulled us as soon as we touched down. Go ahead and get our reverse thrust in. We'll get off our autopilot. All right, and there we go. We should be able to get off right here. All right, that wasn't too bad. That grabbed us very quickly when we touched down. But everything else seemed to have gone fairly well. So we centered it. We can go ahead and toggle off that. We'll go ahead and hold short here for just a moment. All right, we'll go to our after landing check. So our landing lights. We'll go ahead and get our dome light on, or at least the dim version of it. Our landing lights can come off. Well, that's our taxi lights. Landing lights can come off. Strobe light off. And taxi lights on. We have those on. Flaps can come up. I have a button set for that, so we'll bring our flaps in. Our speed brake lever can be set to normal. Transponder can get set to standby. Engine start switches can go to off. And anti-ice we didn't use. Stabilizer trim, we're fine. And APU can come on. We'll get our APU bleed on. And our isolation valve set to... Actually, we can just leave that to auto. And we'll jump down here. We'll set this guy to standby. Now, we have to figure out where we are and how to get to where we're going. Because if I go here, it's telling me... Okay, so we want to go... It looks to the right here. Oh, I didn't mean to pull that out. Go back up. How do I send you back up? I don't know. Oh, there we go. Sent that back up. All right, let's see. So, from my understanding, this is where we are. We are right here, and we want to get down here. So, I can't imagine. Okay, so we're going to follow this one around to the right and just take that all the way down. Okay. Seems right, I believe. All right, let's go. So we'll go ahead and release our brake. Check this master caution here. Okay, we're good. Go ahead and give it some throttle. And we'll cut to the right here. Well, it was a pretty good flight, pretty clear night. I didn't especially like that landing. I think we could have done better on that, or at least as soon as we touched down, it really snagged us and pulled us, and I had to kick in a lot of rudder to keep her centered. Aside from that, the landing went pretty well, but I'm not 100% sure. We didn't get that glide slope call out, which is good. I'm not 100% sure I did the ILS Cat 3 approach properly. But we'll keep trying. Maybe we did. I don't know. Like I said, as soon as we touched down, it kind of snagged us, and I didn't really like that too much, but what are you going to do? So we'll follow this all the way down to the terminals here. And then we will pick a terminal and do our shutdown. But welcome to Denver. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like. If you guys want me to fly anywhere specific, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to do so. And I plan on doing more. I have gotten back onto VATSIM to start learning again. I used to kind of know how to do it. But I started practicing around on VATSIM again because it'd definitely be a lot more fun and interesting for you guys if I flew with ATC, or at least a simulated ATC community. And VATSIM is just an absolute great way to do that. We'll give ourselves a little bit more throttle here just to get us going. You can see the terminals down there. I do have the scenery for Denver, so you will see very, very realistic scenery. Once we pull up to the terminals, it'll look really nice. Clear skies out here. One of these days, I want to do one from like Vancouver or Denver to like Vancouver or something. I do want to get a coast to coast under my belt. I haven't done that yet. Like a New York to LA or Philadelphia to LA or something along those lines. Have not done that yet, but really want to do it. It'd be a long video, that's for sure, and pretty long time lapse. Even if I time lapse that, the video or the time lapse itself would still be like 15 minutes. I'd have to make it super fast. I would definitely have to do that one during the day. That would be a lot of boredom if it was nighttime. I'll do like a morning flight and fly right into the early afternoon. I guess when you're flying from East Coast to West Coast, you're kind of flying back in time, which is a very strange concept, but I would rather fly east to west than west to east. Because west to east, you're like flying into the future. So like, if you're flying towards the East Coast late afternoon, it's gonna be like nighttime, like super fast. It's so weird. There's some terminals down there. We're gonna go off up here, I think on is it Juliet, it looks like, maybe? Not this turn, but our next turn is where we're gonna make our left and get off the taxiway here. Start heading into a terminal. Actually, not the next one, the second to next one, I think. Yeah. Not this one, but the next one here. We'll make our left turn and we'll pick a gate and we will pull up to it. So slow down. We're going to make this turn here. We don't want to jar the passengers. We're going to follow this straight in. Whoa. Follow this to the left, and then I believe we could jump on that right taxiway over there and pull ourselves into a gate. Yeah, we'll veer off to the right here. There we are. All right, and we will pick a gate. We'll just pull into this one right here. Let me go up ahead here. We're going to turn our taxi lights off so we're not blinding everybody as we pull in here. Come in nice and slow. And there we are. We'll go ahead and put our brake on. Beautiful. All right, our parking check. So our parking brake we just set. I guess we didn't set. Seatbelt signs. We'll go to the overhead panel here. Seatbelt signs can go off. No smoking can go off. APU generator switches can go on. Oh, that's our autopilot thing, isn't it? Are we on? I'm not sure what I just did there. Did I start the APU? Yeah. There we are. Okay, I was confused for a second. I was like, what did I just do? All right, APU generator switches on. Our fuel cutoff switches can be set to off, 2 and 1. Our ground power can be established. We'll go back to our overhead panel here. Oh, we're gonna call for our ground power. So we will go menu, FS actions, ground services, ground power. Oh, we'll set chocks and request our ground power. We'll wait for that to come in. Once that comes in, we should be able to request our jetway. There we go. Wait for the ground power. Somewhere in here, there it is. We can request it. There goes that. Okay, good. We'll head to the overhead panel here. Our ground is ready, so we'll go on ground power. And our APU bleed switch can go to off. Our APU can go to off. Our pack switches left and right, they're set to auto already. Probe heat switches 1 and 2 can go off. Window heats can come off. Emergency lights, we can, well, we'll leave them on for now. We don't got to turn them off. We would if we were doing a complete shutdown. Fuel pumps can be set to off. What else we got? Fuel pumps, a yaw damper can come off. IRSs can be set to off. We'll leave those alone for now. Galley switch can go off. We'll leave that alone. Anti-collision position and wing lights. Wing anti-collision. We'll actually turn on our logo lights outside there. We'll leave the logo light on so you can see the logo. Oh, there we go. And I think the door automatically opens, but let's check. We'll go ahead and open the door, and we will let our payload get off. I'm not sure if you can actually, I'm sure you can animate that, but oh, this is loading. Yeah, I guess what if we put 101 in here? I'm just curious. And can we start offboarding them? No. Okay. So that's how we would get them on. All right, I'll try and do that next time if I can remember. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that flight, and I will see you guys on the next flight.